When this game plays hardball, it plays hardball. And this time, it's turned its focus on the transfer window. And the plans that I had for the team have all become messed up. And this has left me with a couple of serious issues. And actually, I don't really know where to begin to describe what happened. Let's go and kick some balls. Hello and welcome back to Norwich, part 40, season 6, in the Ferguson save, set in the future. And the transfer window was an absolute shocker. And when this game plays hardball, it plays hardball. And I'm really not sure how the game managed to do what it did and turn what was a very good plan into something that is an absolute nightmare now. But despite all that, things on the pitch have been going pretty well. We have played 4 and we have 10 points. We have a game in hand over the top 3, and so it is possible that we could jump into second place. And today we will be playing that game in hand in the Premier League. We will be away at Burnley, and then we will play our first Champions League game of this year's campaign away at Roma. But first, before we got into trying to explain what has happened off the pitch, if you are brand new to the channel and you like FM content and you love to see people suffer playing this game, you are definitely in the right place. So why not subscribe, like, watch, comment, do all that good stuff and help the channel to grow, help us to support the British Heart Foundation. And so let's have a look at what's happened on the pitch since you were last here. And when you were last here, you saw us beating Blackburn by 2-0 after we had won the Community Shield against Chelsea. We then followed that with a 3-2 away victory at Leeds, and that was followed by a 1-1 draw away at Arsenal. A good 1-0 victory over Manchester City has meant that we now have 10 points from the opening month, and given the fixtures that we face there, I think that is a pretty good start to the season. And that brings us to today, where we will be playing away at Burnley and away at Roma in the Champions League. And so what happened in the transfer window? Well, I'm not really quite sure where to start on this. And if you remember from the last episode, we were looking at a midfielder. I think his name was Matrach, and he was a very good deep line playmaker, could play at centre mid, and we had an offer for him out there. We had spent £35 million on him, and he looked like an extremely good player. There were no other teams interested in him. He'd been sitting on his contract for quite a while, and so we were just waiting for him to sign the contract and then to come in. We also had Matic up for sale, and Matic had 3 contracts that he was considering, and so what that meant was I was in a very nice position. I could then, with the money coming in for Matic, I could find my left back and I could replace Matic on the right wing, and I would have a lot of strength in depth, and that would have set us up for a very good season. However, it all started to go wrong a day before transfer deadline day. Prior to all that happening, I'd been inundated with advice that I needed to sign Carlo Pasquale. Carlo Pasquale is a good player, but probably not as good a player as the player that I was already awaiting to come to the club. So I ignored all the advice, and then on the day before transfer deadline day, the player I was awaiting to sign his contract suddenly got another offer in from another European team, which he then promptly accepted first thing in the morning on transfer deadline day. So the player now that I had planned to sign was poached within hours of the transfer offer being received. That left me with a problem in midfield, so I decided, okay, let's look at this Pasquale. All the other players that I had on the radar for this defensive midfield position had been sold, and so I had no option but to take a look at this Carlo Pasquale. He was much more expensive, but having done the calculations, I still knew that with Matic, considering his contracts and which one to take, I knew that even despite the cost of Pasquale, I still would be able to find the left back and the replacement right wing. So I decided to make an offer for Pasquale. It was a done deal, £56 million. I still had the money to bring in the left back and the right winger, just waiting on Matic to sign his new contract with his new club, and then that could be done. And I had players lined up for those positions. So everything in the garden was rosy with 12 hours to go. And then with 8 hours left on deadline day, Matic decided to reject all 3 contracts that he had been offered. This was a player who has come to me 4 times saying that he wanted to leave and he was not going to enter into any negotiation for new contracts. There was nothing I could do to keep him at the club. 4 times this happened, and then when he was sold, he rejected the contracts. Now that has left me with a problem. It's left me with 2 problems, and the first one is financially, because the fact that he hasn't gone has left the wage budget almost 100,000, in fact 100,000 over budget. And so what is going to happen now, for sure, is that the club is going to reduce the amount of revenue I get from player sales. Without a shadow of a doubt, that is going to be the first thing that happens. And then, of course, I've been unable to replace the left back. I still have a right winger and an extra midfielder now because Matic has not left, but I have a shortage at left back. So what's going to happen with regard to that? Well, I'm going to get severe injuries at left back or right back, and I'm going to struggle to fill those positions throughout the season. I still have 2 fullbacks out at the moment, and although they are returning to fitness, I'm not expecting to have fit fullbacks this season. And so this whole transfer nonsense has left me in a really poor position. But we did sign Pasquale. He's not as good as the player that I was looking at. He's a ball winner more than a central midfielder, but he is able to play as a very good central midfielder. He's got the mentals that I'm looking for, and he's very strong, and so he'll do a good job, I hope, in centre midfield, but he can also play as an anchor if necessary at the back. But as I'm not playing in the Brazilian style, he's probably going to be used as a central midfielder. And so that was the only transfer that happened during the month of August. And as I said, I'm in a really bad place now, and I'm expecting the game to turn on me quite badly. But as we say, it is what it is. And today we have to go and play these games. We have Burnley away, and then we will be playing in the Champions League against Roma. Luckily, all this fuss with Matic has not affected the dynamics of the squad at all. He is very disappointed that he was not able to join Rennes. Rennes did come in towards the end of deadline day with an offer to loan him. And I said, no, I am not going to loan him out. The offer that they made was not going to cover the deficit in the wage budget. So there was little point in me allowing him to go to Rennes when it still was going to leave me a man short now on the right wing, and also with a problem with the wage budget. So he got very upset when I wouldn't allow him to join Rennes. But he came to me, and the sad thing about the game is that it doesn't have an option when you're talking to the player to tell him, don't be such a plonker, you were never available for loan, you were the one who turned down 3 contracts, not me. And that option to say that in FM is not there. And I think that if the game is going to play hardball like this, then it is something the game needs to consider putting in there. One of the options should be to tell the player, don't be such a plonker. And so I'm not sure if you understand anything of what went on there. I'm struggling to understand it myself. But we have 2 games to play today, starting away at Burnley. It's a game we should win, but you never know with FM. I have reverted to the low block against those bigger sides, and the low block is working quite well. Will it work against Burnley? Who knows? I would say let's go and find out. Let's go and kick some balls. And so the team for today against Burnley is Gotts in goal, with Kamara, Reguan, Raheem and Plantier at the back. Ibran, Kitambala and Thomas in midfield, with Matic, Aranda and Neil up front. I've chosen to rest Wilden with the and Pook, which they're not happy about, because of the Roma game that's coming up on Tuesday, I believe. And so I don't want to play everybody who needs to play in that game against Roma. And I think we need to say we're on a good run. I got faith in you. Get out there, make a difference. We have to win this game, because otherwise it's just another team at the bottom of the league that I've been unable to beat, and it is Burnley who have made the better start. And I do believe that the game is not finished with me yet, because I've got a funny feeling that something else is going to happen. And Ibran finds Matic finds Kamara, nice football, finds Thomas, he looks inside, finds Matic, who is on a short thread with me, and he loses the ball. As comes out, Burnley are going to score. I can tell what is going to happen. Here come Burnley, they are in. And it's a good save by Gotts, but I think he was offside. And again, another team who are 18th, 19th or 20th, who I'm really struggling to beat. I don't know why I have so much trouble beating these teams, and it wouldn't matter how I play. That's the strange thing about it, is that I'll change the tactic at half-time, go more attacking, go more positive, go further up the field against them, and it won't matter what I do. And it's only against bottom of the league teams, and at the moment this team is playing rubbish, and I'm going to say this isn't good enough. And I've got J. Neal having a poor game, Aranda having a poor game, a lot of players. I'm going to tell them this is not good enough, boys, not good enough. And defensively we've been fine, we are defending quite well, and I'm going to say you've not been good enough. And if they don't like it, too bad. They can go and sit on the bench if they don't like it. And Burnley are looking to come forward. We are playing with this deeper line, because even Burnley have a team of Olympic sprinters in their team, and I don't know where they're getting these players from. But here comes Aranda. Aranda's looking to sprint the best we can up the touchline. He's got past his man, but unfortunately, no, I thought it had gone out for a goal kick. The referee is going to give a penalty. Are we going to win a match against a lower team in the league? And what is the result? It is going to be a penalty, is it? The penalty is awarded. I think with Wilden not in the team, I think it might be Kamara who steps up to take the penalty. Is it Kamara? Yes, it is. Kamara with the penalty, and it is Burnley 0, Norwich 1. And it's at the moment it's a good result, but this game is nowhere near over yet. And while they've got these 200-mile-an-hour sprinters on the pitch, I'm just wondering if I should bring my line back to a lower line of engagement, whether I should push up. I'm really not quite sure what to do, but I don't think this game is over yet by any stretch of the imagination, as Thomas picks up a throw-in from Kamara, feeds it back to Kamara, back to Reguan. We have a number of players on yellow cards, despite the fact that I'm telling them these days to stay on their feet, and that's simply because teams have too much pace. And Aranda has been robbed again. He is having an absolutely terrible game, Aranda, and he needs to come off. And I will make some changes very shortly, because Neil is also having a poor game. I was offered 45 million for him. I should have taken it, because he's come to the end of his sell-by date, I think, and he's playing really badly at the moment, and so maybe I should have taken that 45 million for him. But we'll go and make some changes now. And so we have made our subs, and we have had to bring Wilden on. as Jay Neal was having an absolutely terrible game. I can only hope that this is a blip for Jay Neal and that he will improve in the future. But this game is far from won at the moment, and I'm not quite sure what happened there. But there are just 8 minutes left, and I'm going to go back now to a balanced style. I just want to try and hold on to this lead now. Let's defend, boys. Let's not do anything silly, and keep passing the ball around. And there is a long punt upfield. Wilden is in space. Wilden is in form, but that's a good save by the goalkeeper, and Burnley can clear. And Burnley are looking like a very, very good team. I'm not sure why they are down in 18th place. It really doesn't make any sense to me why I struggle so much to beat these teams. But we have beaten them, and we were not at our best, but we have got the 3 points. And I think that leaves us in second place. We are just second behind Chelsea on goal difference. It's a struggle. Everything is a struggle at the moment. I have to rest the team now because we have a big game coming up against Roma in the Champions League. I'm not expecting to do very well in the Champions League. I think, again, we don't have a squad that's capable of doing it. They will also have players who can run 200 miles an hour. We cannot cope with the amount of pace these teams have. And I'm not sure where they're getting these players from because I can't see them in the transfer market. Anyway, I've got to go and get this team ready for the game against Roma. We'll be right back before kickoff. And so the team for today in the first Champions League game of the campaign is Götze in goal. I want to play Nick Prescott, but he's not fit enough yet. I also want to play Muntian at some point, but he's not fit enough to start. So we'll have Allen, Bonilla, Reguan and Plantier at the back. Flores, Puk and Zaprapoulis in midfield. Kitambala, Aranda and Wilden will play up front. I need a big game from Lewis Wilden now. I'm almost relying on him. None of the other players in the team seem to be playing very well at the moment, but Wilden seems to be scoring for fun. I just hope that we can get something out of this game against Roma. For once, they are not electrifyingly fast. They do have some pacey players, but no more than we have. So it's a much more evenly balanced competition between these two teams in terms of pace. And it is Roma who've started the tie a little better, although we have had the only chance. But our XG isn't extremely good at the moment. And it is Roma on the attack. And have I picked a team that can beat Roma? I don't think so. I'm not expecting to do very well in the Champions League. I never do, because it's just so difficult in the future against these teams. And I don't know where they're finding their players from, how they're doing this. But they are, and that's a nice bit of play by Zaprapoulis. He is a world-class player. He's only 4-star, though. Compared to some of these other players, his rating should be a lot higher. But here comes Zaprapoulis again and looks inside. Can he find his man? And he's gone all the way back now to Allen. Allen needs to slow it down. He finds Puk. He finds Aranda, who's playing a lot of football in his first season here at Norwich. He finds Flores inside to Puk with a pass to Aranda. Aranda's in. Aranda's hit the crossbar. So we have made a decent couple of chances. We're still not getting shots on target. It's a big worry when you're not getting shots on target. And Wilden to Zaprapoulis with the ball into the box. We can't get it in there. And here comes Plantier finds Puk. Puk's having a very good game in midfield. Aranda with a shot, and that flies over the crossbar. It remains Norwich 0, Roma 0. It will be good to get a point for away at Roma. I won't complain about that. It would be even nicer if we could get the 3 points, as we are dominating this game. Roma have not really been in it. They've only created the one chance, although the big worry about that is that they have got their chance on target, where we're not getting ours on target. That's really the only stat you need to look at in this game. And here is Wilden. Wilden's got a chance, and Wilden has scored. And it's good old Wilden. It's going to be checked for offside. without Wilden, I'm not sure where this team would be. He's the only one that I can rely on. It is now Roma 0, Norwich 1. Funny how we can quite easily dispatch a team like Roma, and yet a team 18th in the Premier League like Burnley, teams like Sunderland, Brentford, I can't put them away at all. It is very strange, but we're going to take this. Lovely move and pass. Wilden was in. He doesn't miss many. He's on the scoreboard again, and that is a good performance by Wilden. So now it is Capitoline or Roma 0, Norwich 1. But here come Roma. They've really not created anything much in this game, but you can never write teams off. And there's a shot, and it's a brilliant save by Götze. Götze, who I was hoping to sell in the transfer window, but nobody came in with an offer for him. To be quite fair, I wouldn't actually be looking at buying him. He's very up and down as a goalkeeper, has 2 good games and 2 bad games. And we really need to get Prescott playing as much as possible. I hope he's going to be a much more consistent player than Götze. And at the moment it's half-time though here at Roma, and we are in front, deservedly so, I think. We've pretty much done well with our passing. We'll tell them that. Everybody's playing reasonably well, so I'm just going to tell them that I think that just to keep going, you've got the ability to do it, and we can win this football match. Just keep doing what you're doing. The low block seems to be working for me. I don't want to change that at this point in time, and we'll keep just working with this low block for the moment. I don't feel confident enough in this team to go attacking or to press teams. We're not very aggressive. In fact, we're very poor when it comes to aggression, and that perhaps is going to be an issue if we try to press teams. But here's Plantia. Plantia looks for Aranda. Aranda's into the box, and there is Wilden again. And it's Roma 0, Norwich 2. Wilden on the scoreboard again. But what an assist from Aranda. Looked up, saw Wilden in space. Bang, 2-0. And it was well done by Plantier as well at left back, intercepting. Aranda looked up, saw Wilden, and he's not going to miss from there. He's in outstanding form the last season and this season as well. And that has made us jump up to second in the Champions League. It's not going to remain like that because there's a lot of football to be played over the next couple of days. And here come Roma, though. We can't discount Roma. Roma are a good team. They're not as fast a team as we've been used to playing, and so the line is slightly higher today. But there is a ball over the top, and that is a good save by Götze. And maybe that's a warning that I don't want to be playing the line too far up. But at the moment, I'm going to make some changes now. And we'll wait for this highlight as Götze makes the catch. And so we have made several changes to the team, and we will wait until this highlight is over, and then hopefully that will be enough fresh legs on the pitch to see this game out. And it is 2-0, and I'm very surprised that we are winning this game, but I'm very happy that we are winning this game as Alan looks inside for Bonilla. Bonilla finds Puk to Kitambala. He finds Zaprapoulos. Zaprapoulos all the way back to Bonilla. I like this style of football, keeping possession, slowing it down. We look fairly good when it's looking well. But here's Kitambala with a drive, hits the crossbar and bounces into the crowd. It's still Roma 0, Norwich 2, and we can get our fresh legs on the pitch now. Flores is having a very good game. Aranda's having a good game, as well as Wilden, of course. Wilden on a hat-trick. Can he get his hat-trick? But it is going to be Roma bursting forward. They are in space, and that is a chance, and it's a very good save low down from Götze. It still is Roma 0, Norwich 2. I'll be happy with a 2-0 victory away at Roma, that's for sure. And Götze comes again and completes the catch. He's playing a lot better this season, Götze, than he was towards the end of last season. He was giving me kittens last season. But it's a good result. Roma 0, Norwich 2, a brace for Wilden. I'm very happy that Wilden has kept his form. Nice work, everyone. That was good. And that is a good way to end this episode. And at the moment we are in second. But of course, there is a lot of football to be played tomorrow. And so I don't expect we will be in second for much longer. But 3 points from your first game in Europe seems good to me. The low block seems to be working. And let's have a look at the schedule and see where we are from here. I will play through September and we'll come back for Sunderland and Celtic at the beginning of October. And that's it for this episode. If you are brand new to the channel, you like FM content, and you love to see people suffer playing this game, you're definitely in the right place. So why not subscribe, like, watch, comment, do all that good stuff and help us to support the British Heart Foundation. I am fairly content at the moment, but I do feel that the game has got one or two things up its sleeve that I'm not yet ready for, and it's going to spring some surprises on me. We will play, as I said, through, and we'll see you back at the beginning of October. All that remains to be said now is stay safe. We will see you in the next episode.